Do you know what? I'm gonna have to put you on ice, and you are gonna go very well with some grey shorts and a white t-shirt.
Perfect.
Hello there broskis, Erkin back here. But of course, if you're new, this is the life of a broski where I do sneaker unboxings and reviews. So if that's your kind of thing, hit that subscribe button. Now I know some of you are actually going to moan about this one. Oh Erkin, you're always doing Air Forces or Air Maxes. But if you have any suggestions, leave them down below. And if I find them interesting enough, I might just add them to the list. But without any more egg or waffle, on today's episode, I am reviewing the Nike Air Force 1 Metallic Summit White. These are an undercover gem. You know, you find some trainers that you weren't even looking for, but they just popped out of nowhere and you're like, okay, that's a bit of me, that is. As Eddie Hearn would say,
Oh, go on, man.
Now these are actually the Air Force 1 2007, but they're also called Level 8 or Elevate. And the reason being is because the midsole is slightly higher than the OG. Now these are actually out on Nike.com. They're only available to members only. So if you haven't already signed up to Nike, do that ASAP. I can see these selling out pretty quickly. Now these are retailing for £90 here in the UK, and if you are interested in getting a pair, as always I'll leave some links down below. Now the accents on this sneaker does do enough to separate itself from other Air Force 1s. It also keeps it as true as possible, and there's not really much out there that's cleaner than a white Air Force 1. Now broskies, before we take a deep dive into the sneakers, we are going to have a look at the box, and I'm pleased to see it's another stealthy box by Nike, of course, that has the Nike Air Force 1 branding in that metallic silver at the front. And to be honest, that's pretty much it. It's simple but effective. Now the product information reads Nike Air Force 1 07 Level 8 or Elevate, and the official colorway is Metallic Summit White / multicolor. And I actually got a UK 9, but we're going to touch more on sizing in a bit. So broskies, that's pretty much the box. It's very nice, very stealthy, but also rather simple. When these sit on your shelf, you just know you are a don. Okay, maybe a bit of a stretch. Anyways broskies, let's get into the sneakers. Now a couple standout things for me straight off the bat is that shiny metallic Nike swoosh on the medial and lateral side, and in some lights it changes color rather frequently, but for me it's more of a metallic gold overall. Now it would have been nice to have a reflective Nike swoosh there, but I think it does a nice job on its own. Now going around the materials on this upper, we have those synthetic leather panels on the midsections of this sneaker and also on the toe box. But one thing to note, the materials on the toe box, it is actually a thickened and harder sort of leather, sort of similar to ones you'd find on a Jordan 1. But yes, I can see these creasing, so I'll leave some links down below for some sneaker shields. And to finish off on the toe box, we've got those perforation holes to add a little bit more ventilation. But those materials that surround that toe guard and towards the back panels, at first glance I actually thought they were leather. It's actually a smooth nylon material, and if I scratch it a little bit, I think you can get the gist of what sort of material it is. It's sort of a material you would find on a windbreaker or even an anorak. Now those materials run through surrounding the toe box to the lace holes to even the back panels. Now going to the laces, one thing I find really nice on this sneaker is we've got that sort of straw-like texture, but those dotted lines are actually reflective. And the only time I've ever seen that is on those Air Force 1 Quick Strike Light Bone. That sneaker was amazing with the reflective panels, but I'm glad Nike have done it on this. Now those nylon panels on this sneaker is sort of an off-white color / cream, whilst those leather panels are of course white. Now we've got the mesh panels on this tongue, and we've got the Nike Air Force 1 tag right at the top. And inside of the collar towards the back is actually that soft fleece material, which is actually a very comfortable and nice feel on foot. But as you travel further into the sneaker, the rest of it is actually covered in mesh. Now as we travel to the back on the heel counter, we've got the Nike Air branding stitched in black. And I know it looks like leather on first sight, but this panel in that white colorway is actually the same nylon material. And another nice touch by Nike, it is fully reflective. Now traveling to this midsole and outsole, it is pretty much your standard setup in terms of design to the classic Air Force 1 in that iconic white colorway. But of course, this being the level 8 or Elevate iteration, it has a very slight heightened feel. But honestly on foot, there isn't really much of a difference. So broskies, there you have it, the first look at this Air Force 1 Metallic Summit White. The feel of these materials on this sneaker, you can see the difference from some of the other silhouettes out there in terms of that premium feel. And my favorite Air Force 1 of all time is actually the Flyknit 2.0, just because of the feel on foot, the lightness to it, and of course the no creasing, but that classic look to an Air Force 1, nothing comes close. Now in terms of the sizing, like I did mention in the beginning, I actually went for my normal 9 UK, and it was actually by accident. But I'm actually glad I did, because these fit a little bit more snug than your average Air Force 1. And my theory is because of the fleece material on the inside, it adds that little bit more padding. So my advice is stick to your normal sizing. Now in terms of comfort, Air Forces aren't really known for how good they are. They're not on par with say Air Maxes in my opinion, but they can also be your daily sneaker, especially once you've worn them in. They're even more comfortable. And this sneaker just feels like your normal Air Force 1, just with a little bit more height. But out of 10 for comfort, I'm gonna give a 7.5. Now when it comes to the breathability of this sneaker, normally on Air Forces, all those leather panels on the silhouette doesn't really do it any favors when it comes to the ventilation. But honestly, in my opinion, with the mesh materials on the inside and all those perforation holes, I can't see these being much of a problem in the summer. So out of 10 for breathability, I am gonna give an 8. So broskies, we have come to the part of the video where I decide if these are a buy or a buy. So counting how many Air Force 1s I've actually got, I've got 4 Flyknit 2.0s, I've got 1 React Quick Strike, the light bone colorway, and I think that's it at the moment. And I'm trying not to add too much to my collection just because of the limited space I have. It's just a bit of a nightmare. So the ones I actually do keep and have in my rotation, they've got to really make me feel like I love them. But honestly broskies, this silhouette just does it for me. It has that classic Air Force 1 styling, the reflective panels to the laces, and of course that heel counter, plus that premium feel to the materials, and of course those shiny metallic Nike swooshes. Everything you want from an Air Force 1, just with a little bit more sauce. So overall broskies, I am gonna give a buy. But broskies, let me know what you think. Are you a fan of the classic Air Force 1? What sort of Air Forces do you own? Are you thinking of getting this pair, or is this a total miss? Leave all your comments down below, and yes, I will be pinning the best one. Anyways broskies, that's enough waffle for one video. As always, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and as always, take care.